I love you, Venius. Welcome to Worlds Cooldown, where the rules are made up and the rankings don't matter. Worlds 2018. Both tournament favorites go out in the quarterfinals. RNG are stopped dead in their tracks along the golden road in search of their first world title, and G2 says no in Game 5 of the quarterfinals.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Deficio.
I don't even know what to say right now. When Game 5 started and it was RNG blue side, I was panicking. I was like, this is it. It goes back to Game 3 all over again. But G2, once again, they commit to Aatrox, and then they pick this LeBlanc for Perkz in the mid lane. And he destroys RNG.
And that was the big difference maker. You know, in the previous game when they had were on red side, didn't get the Tom Kench. They went for the Cassiopeia as opposed to the Aurelia. And this time around, Perkz said, no, I'm not going to play for the team. I'm going to play for me, and I'm going to lead the team.
Oh, the solo laners for G2 absolutely popping off today. I'm going to give you a little bit more time to breathe. Don't worry, I'm going to give you some more time to breathe because fresh off of his win, G2's mid laner is standing by for an interview with Shox.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with Perkz after G2 Esports beats RNG for a spot in the semifinal. What just happened?
I don't know. I have no idea what to say. It's definitely unexpected, right? Yeah.
How are you so calm?
I just didn't care. I just don't care. For the last couple of weeks, I just don't care. I'm so like mentally drained now that I just don't care and I just play. And so yeah, we can win against anyone. So.
Okay, so let me try and paraphrase that as to how I interpret it. For years, you have fought against it. You have given your all. You couldn't get there. There were so many disappointments. You come into this match where you are the absolute underdog. You have your teammates, and you just went for it. Is that how I should say it?
Basically, we had nothing to lose, and they had everything to lose. Like raiding MSI champions, 2x LPL champions, Asian Games champions, Rift Atlas champions, and there's just some European third-seed team coming to get you. Yeah.
Is there anything you can point to, like game-wise, pick and ban-wise, anything in the strategy of how you approached this last game? By the way, your LeBlanc was insane, of how you ended it.
I think that we just realized that, it was kind of obvious that they play towards bot, right? But we realized that it was kind of hard for our bot, and then we realized that we should put more strength on mid jungle mostly because their top side is kind of weaker than their bot lane. So that's basically the approach. That's the games we won, and that's how we won the series. Yeah. So I just wanted to play LeBlanc because I saw Rookie play LeBlanc, and he didn't buy items and stuff, and he was a bit choking. So I had to beat his LeBlanc performance.
I'm going to try one more time because I know it all feels surreal and you don't really know what to say, but Perkz, having this kind of a performance in a Game 5 when the whole world is watching and nobody is counting on you guys, you have a lot to be proud of. Can you kind of speak to that?
It just didn't hit me yet, It's just nothing hit me yet, I'm just really proud of my team. They all play really well, and I've been feeling very stressed recently for last week or something, and longer even. So sometimes I'm not in the best mental shape, but yeah, I don't know, I'm very grateful for everything.
Well, if you can do this, if you're not in the best mental shape, what can we expect now? Is everything now unleashed?
I don't know, maybe I should just not be in best mental shape, and maybe that's when the craziness comes out, because I just have fun playing on stage.
It seems like it hasn't hit you that much yet. Finally, what do you want to say about, your teammates, all these guys who also came on stage here with you and played their hearts out?
I don't know. I'm just really proud of all of them, and they're really, really good, and we play really well together, and yeah, it's I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I just can't believe it. Our scrims are sometimes not the most productive, and maybe just has limits, and that's why we win, So I can't believe it, yeah.
You wouldn't tell that you just knocked out the tournament favorites, RNG, as the absolute underdogs. I think it's going to hit you in just a little bit, so we'll just take a breather. Thank you very much, Perkz. Congratulations. Absolute insanity here in Busan. Back over to you guys.
Thank you, Shocks. Perkz himself struggling to both make sense of it and find words to explain this victory, and probably one of the most historic victories in all of World's history is this 5-game win over RNG.
Yeah, 100%. Like a couple of days ago, this team was in a tiebreaker against Flash Wolves to get out of the group with 2nd seed, and they had to pull out the Heimerdinger. They did it. They get the 2nd seed. They draw RNG, and we go, oh, this is scary, you know.
Right.
Tournament favorites. But there were some things solo laners could beat the RNG guys. Didn't expect it to happen, but then on stage, they show when they get these 1-3-1 comps, like how good they can actually play. And it's strange to sit here and talk about G2 winning a Game 5 against RNG, knocking Uzi out, but it happened. They played better than RNG, and they fully deserved to go to the semifinal.
And what's crazy is that, you know, Stockholm Royal Club, RNG, they used to be a team that was recognized for their ability to only play one style. But because they did that one style so well, they got themselves to 2 back-to-back world champions. And so the fact that they fall to G2, who are now just defining themselves as kind of this one-style team. But if that is your game and you do it so well that you can usurp, you know, the best team in the world, now does that baton just pass straight to G2? I mean, this is crazy.
It is crazy, and I actually want to give a lot of credit also to the bottom lane and Jankos, because I know we talk about the solo lane all the
Jankos
time.
played this game excellent.
We have just shown 3 replays, and all 3 replays have been around Yanin, Wadid, and Jankos. And they were on the back foot the first couple of games. They were super rough. Uzi was up like 30 CS, tons of gold, took down multiple turrets. But in this game here, when they draft the Braum Jhin, and then they take this Olaf for early game, and they play to the lane. They say, we know if we stop Uzi here, we win the other lanes already. And they actually succeeded with it in the final game. And it was clear to see that the moment that bot lane from RNG fell behind, with the wards coming down on the Lantern so many times, RNG just ran out of steam very, very quickly. And G2 got so far ahead in this game.
Yeah, RNG looked caught off guard, and G2 looked like they were playing on instinct. I think that's kind of what I gleaned from what Perkz, you know, himself was saying there at the end was, you know, I didn't have time to think. Not that he didn't care about the game, not that there wasn't emotional investment in it, but the fact that he's sitting there still almost unable to take it in or even process it just tells me that he's still very much playing on an instinctual level, relying on how well he knows this champion and how well he knows his teammates.
100% agree. I don't think Perkz, when Worlds started, could even think about being in this situation. Knocking RNG out. He's on a team that lost 4 players going into the year. He's on a team that never made it out of groups at Worlds when they were first
They didn't make it this far in their own domestic playoffs.
It's true. They got 3-0'd by Misfits. And they run the gauntlet. They go through Plains. They lose the first game of Plains to Supermassive. And then they do this.
Oh, that makes me happy. I love Jankos as a player just because of how emotional he is. The fact that he rides the highs and the lows with his team. It has been known to bite him at times.
Sure.
But at the same time, you see how a single first blood with a 1 HP escape can completely catalyze a team to just charge to that finish line.
The emotion, the momentum, that drive, that passion. I mean, I don't think it's unfair to say that RNG and Uzi in particular looked pretty tilted that game at certain points, you know, making these errors, whereas G2 were able to calm themselves, to reset. The fact that they kept going into Game 4, Game 5 when they got blasted in that 25-minute stomp, and they just laugh it off, let it roll over them. It's a 1 HP walk away from Jhin, and yet they get behind it, and Perkz is like, I'm not thinking, I'm just playing.
I do think we have to do justice to both RNG and KT, though, in saying goodbye to them today.
Right.
Because we have to recognize, again, kind of the titans that they were coming into the tournament and how there was all of this expectation around those 2 teams. And if they go to opposite sides of the bracket, they're going to be the final. You know, everyone else is playing for third, essentially. And And they did go to the 5 games, yes. It bit them. But even in that 5th game, did they show some tenacity? Because that was one of the most lopsided, 10K gold leads we saw. And the game extended. Multiple fights in the middle of it did start to go in RNG's favor and even put a lot of people on edge of like, oh no, it might happen. They might run this back to get the 5th game.
Yeah, the late game with Uzi is always there. You start getting a little bit scared when a couple of fights go in their favor. In the end, however, when G2 got the Baron, they find Uzi in that one fight near the mid-inhib turn, and he didn't actually even get to use his summoners. He just
I believe,
popped.
yeah, his flash was up.
Flash was up and everything. He ended up
That'll
going
haunt
down.
them.
But it's been a lot of pressure on him in that game because it's like, you need to get us back in this game. You need to carry in every single late game fight. But it's kind of crazy with RNG and KT, and it's going to take some time for us as well, and I think all the viewers to kind of process what happened here. Like, the 2 big favorites in 5 games, not 3-0 stomps, but in 5 games, ends up losing and dropping out of the tournament in quarters.
I mean, we were having this discussion, earlier on in the desk about this idea of kind of when did this... I don't want to say the gap is closing because it's just like, but there's no other phrase that I can find. But like,
the gap in this meta is closing.
Yeah, when did this all start? Because you think back to last year's Worlds and you think about, Cloud9 taking WE to 5 games, Misfits and SKT all the way to 5 games, and like slowly but surely there has been like this chipping away of ground, and there just wasn't enough data to really definitively say the gap is closed, or however you want to phrase it. And now you have this Worlds where there's massive upsets and they keep repeatedly happening. And they keep happening across of multiple regions. This isn't just EU and China, it's also North America. And it happened in 2 best-of-5s back-to-back. So at what point do we finally say we have a big enough data sample size?
That's a good question. Not one that I'm prepared to answer just yet. I'll think on it overnight and I'll get back to you. To hear more from the EU reps who just earned their spot in a semifinal, let's hand it off to Shocks in the G2 bot lane.
Thank you so much, guys. Of course, I also had to grab Wadid and Hjarnan. I just talked to Perkz, and he just seemed to not realize what was happening. Do you guys realize what you just did?
Yeah, you can go.
Yeah, for me, even though we won the series, like, I feel really bad for my teammates because, like, I didn't perform well, Like, I felt like I could lose every single game in this series because of me. So that's why I was like not that happy, but still, like, we managed to finish as a team, so I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah.
Hjarnan, are you able to give some perspective on that? Yes, it wasn't perfect. Yes, some games were not good, but at the end of the day, it matters that you killed the last Nexus as a team. How do you feel about all this?
I mean, the first 2 games I played, it was my first time against Uzi as well, and they were playing like really like different from other bot laners. And also with their picks, me and Madid was just like, so what do we do now? We can't farm, so okay, what do we do? And then we were like...
Yeah, it was really, really hard because like, they know how to use their jungler to play aggressive, and then they play aggressive every time their jungler is around. They know how to control vision as a bot lane, and they are good as mechanical as well. So it was really like, it was one of like toughest series like I ever played, but still like we kind of know that what is going on, like, oh yeah, they're coming both sides again, guys. So we try to play against it. We try to like go through it,
Yeah, pretty much.
From looking, it was like everyone was nervous maybe backstage and at home. Whenever we looked at your cams, you guys were laughing and kind of shrugging everything off. Is it at the end of the day the team mentality and atmosphere that helped you guys today?
I mean, for sure the last game now, we knew that we was won when my mid laner is like 8-0 at minute 15. So like we knew that game that we will win the last game.
Yeah.
So we were really confident. But then we tried to do Nashor and was like, okay, guys. And then we get into like 6 items with Seaver. So we're like, okay, we have to try our guys. So like, it was really like serious after that. But we also had some joking moments too.
Yeah, we kind of tried to focus again, but like we were all hyped. Like everyone's, oh, semi.
No, you did do it?
No, I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. But like everyone's joking. Like, I said, okay, guys, maybe we need to focus a bit. No, it's fine. Like we just can Nash at the end of the game. It's like, okay, Seaver is a bit stronger. Like.
I love it. You guys are still just joking around after what is the most important victory probably in your careers thus far. So maybe to wrap it up, Wadid, you started playing here in Busan, in your hometown. You were so happy when you got those first wins in the group stage, but this must be almost unreal for you.
Exactly. I was down on 5, playing mid Talon, PC Bang tournament in this Busan, and right now I'm playing support, and I'm playing G2 Esports, and I finally reached to semifinals. I'm not sure is it true, like, yeah, is it real actually? It hurts, so it's true, guys. Like,
Sorry.
yeah, we did it.
Okay.
I'm so happy with it.
You did it. Jarnen, I just want to give you the last word because you've had to deal with a lot from everyone. Let me just put it that way. And even though not all games were perfect, you held your own versus Uzi and Ming and versus RNG. What would you like to say?
I would like to say thanks to all the fans that supported me throughout all the hard times and that will keep supporting us.
Graceful in victory. Thank you guys so much. Amazing effort. Jarnen and Wadid are going to the semifinals, guys. Back over to you.
Lul.
Thank you very much, Shocks. From Diamond 5 in a PC Bong in Busan to now playing on the world stage in Busan and booking a trip to the semifinals, top 4 at Worlds.
I remember
What
when
a
he
cool
came
journey.
to Europe. He came to Europe, he joined Rocket, and I talked to Grabs, the coach of Rocket, who's now the coach of G2, and I was like, who's this guy? He's like, it's just a Korean guy from Solo Queue we found. I'm like, okay. And his first name was random Korean on the server. That was it. Because he was like, no one knows me, no one cares about me, that's
Right.
fine. And now a couple of years later, he's in the semifinal.
Yeah, Wadid is a name that people know.
Wadid is now a name people know.
And it is a name that people will continue to know for quite some time. The first series today went the way of Invictus Gaming after a tough 5 games, knocking the LCK's 1 seed KT Rolster out of the tournament. Now, we asked ourselves immediately following that game, is this the biggest upset of the tournament so far? We might have to reevaluate that question alone, given the result of the second series, but I'll still bring it up.
I don't know. Do we need to wait until day 2 as well of
yeah, right?
quarterfinals?
No upsets tomorrow.
Oh boy. No one
I
is
mean,
safe.
how do you even know what's an upset anymore?
That's fair.
I mean, to be fair, KT Rolster were designed to win the World Championship. They have, all 5 players and the top 20 players at Worlds. Their mechanical ceiling alone is incredible. They dominated what has been the strongest region in the world for the last 20 million years, let's go. And yet, just fell down to Invictus Gaming, of all people.
But I think IG was one of the teams that some people had as a top 3 team going into the tournament based on their insane regular season record in the OPL, going 5 games against RNG twice as well. And then other people said RNG, they're going to struggle. They're not going to know how to play past 20 minutes. But this current meta and how the game is being played right now by some of the teams really benefits aggression, early game focus, and that benefits IG a lot. And I think it caught KT off guard in some of the first few games when they were trying to draft a little bit more late game and they just got smacked in the face really quickly. That's still, to me, the thing that kind of stands out now, where we saw it a bit last year at Worlds. Misfits playing early game against SKT was super effective, even though it wasn't meta, and it actually got them to 5 games. Now, we've seen more of that. The game is kind of focused more towards it, a little bit less vision. Baron can be a little bit easier to take, these kind of things. But in the end, you're still got to be able to execute big team fights, just like in the past. We've just seen more and more teams have players stepping up individually. And I think IG, a lot of them, Baolan in the first 2 games on the Rakan was fantastic.
Right.
And that was something we didn't expect.
What I'm super excited about in terms of the results of both of these series is that at the top of the day, when we were talking about KT versus IG, we did the scorecard, right?
Yeah.
We had solo lane, the only 2 winning points for IG were the solo lanes, top and mid.
Yep.
Everything else to KT. G2 has the same strong points.
Yep.
We were calling out the 2 solo laners as the strong points for them and everyone else. And now we get to watch those 2 teams, having taken down the other more maybe team fight oriented teams, go at it. And just seeing how those strengths begin to clash, I think, is what's going to be super interesting when you get into that discussion around all of these meta picks, how games are more reliant on mechanical prowess and individual strengths and outplays and whatnot. I mean, we are teeing ourselves up for such an incredible semifinal here.
And
We're gonna have insane lanes.
But it also just kind of speaks to the caliber of talent in this tournament, because a team like KT Rolster, like we just said, this meta seems much more dependent on the idea to shoot from the hip, to play, outplay mechanically, and now you have KT Rolster fall out in the quarterfinals. Probably the most mechanically gifted team in terms of just a collective super 5. And now we have, it was rookie versus Caps, and now Perkz get to have his go at rookie
Yeah,
and really decide, is it the LPL mid laners or the EU mid laners?
And then now we're gonna have the Shy versus Wonder in the top, or Duke, or Duke.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't let me catch myself there.
I hope it's the Shy versus Wonder. I want to carry versus carry.
It's probably going to be the Shy. I imagine it's going to be the Shy based on the series today. But again, exciting semifinals to come. Each series pushed teams to the absolute limit, and under that pressure, certain pros earned MasterCard Player of the Game. So for the first series, they were IG's Rookie, IG's Baolan, KT's UCal, KT's Smeb, and IG's Baolan again. So as you were saying, Deficio, 2 Player of the Games for that support player.
I mean, it's just overall very impressive that I think a lot of the younger players on IG actually ended up doing well. They started putting more focus on the bottom lane, which we didn't really expect in that matchup. It was supposed to be very heavily favored towards Mata and Deft, but that was not the case when we actually got to watch, especially the last game where it went full late game. Even with the Kindred with Infinity Edge.
The baffling, yeah, oh my goodness.
In the end, but that's like the adaptation doing a best of 5 where we can say, wait a minute, it wasn't just about early game.
Right.
This was actually a late game IG that took down KT. So they managed to beat them early and late during this best of 5.
Made the proper adjustments. Let's look at Series 2, where the players of the game were RNG's Uzi, G2's Wonder, RNG's Karsa, G2's Perkz, and once again, G2's Perkz.
And the thing is that you had the individual pieces of G2 step up in their solo laners. And we had a 50-50 coin flip between that 4th game if it was going to be Wonder or Perkz. Was it the Akali or was it the Aurelia? And that just speaks to how well both of them are playing. It wasn't just one guy showed up at one point. It was everyone was collectively showing up. Hjarnan and Wadded absorbing the pressure that RNG was throwing at them in the bot lane. Wonder and Perkz recognizing that they needed to prioritize the assassins and actually be the carries. And Jankos, a completely different look from what he showed in group stage to how he showed in the last game in quarterfinals. Because that series alone was actually pretty rough for Jankos when it started, and he just kept getting better and better, not letting the emotion tilt him, staying focused.
This is a player who was known to choke in big games a couple of years ago, but when he made the first semifinal at Worlds against Samsung, he actually proved everyone wrong and showed that he could play the big games, and now he's doing it again. He did it in the Gauntlet, which is very impressive from him. But man, I'm so impressed overall that IG and G2 do this. Like the fact that so many of these players step up when it really matters. And it's so crazy to just think about, again, the next matchup we're gonna have between these 2 teams.
We got 2 more quarterfinals before
Who's the
that
favorite?
go to Deficio. I know you want to see G2 go at IG, but after today, we have our first 2 semifinalists as G2 Esports has another LPL opponent in their path as they meet Invictus Gaming in Gwangju. Tomorrow, though, 4 more teams compete for the remaining the remaining 2 semifinal spots as the day kicks off in Busan with Freak of Freaks versus Cloud9, and then Fnatic and EDG clash after that first series.
We're gonna do some predictions.
Yeah, you want to? Yeah, you know what? Because they don't mean anything, so you might as well throw them out right now.
All right, I'm gonna go 3-0 Fnatic.
You're still gonna go 3-0 after today?
Anything's
Come
possible.
on, 3-0 Fnatic.
Woo.
And 3-1 Afrika.
3-1
Stuck
Afrika.
really
That's what I got.
standard
C9.
on. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go Cloud9, Fnatic. It's EU versus EU final.
There it
Ship
is.
me off to 2019.
No Korean teams make it to the semifinals this year. That's what that means.
Did I stutter dash?
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, best worlds yet. Enough said. That's going to do it for us here. So for myself, the casters, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching. And we'll see you tomorrow for more of Worlds 2018 Knockout Stage.
How can you be anything but excited for the bout that's ready to unfold before us?
It's a dream match, honestly. This is the sort of match that has so much star power in it.
Away, you got making the play. First blood over to KT, and they'll make it 2. Balon in the retreat, but it's a rampage over for score. Shy goes into the fight. He's able to find the suppression into the fear, into the damage, into death. Who's going to be forced to flash away? Rookie's in hot pursuit and locks them down for a double kill. As there's Balon. Here comes your Galio ulti. Slam! Dog going to 5. Redemption is there. Smeb is taken down.
好，nice，
KT has to fix what's gone wrong so far, or their world's journey ends early. But for Invictus Gaming, what a celebration it would be as the crowd comes to life. The Shy has made his way onto the inhibitor turret, onto the Nexus turret. They're going to be taken down. KT still marching. It's a base race. The Shy's onto the blue Nexus. KT's on the red. Who's going to win? KT roster still are in Worlds! It's still match point. Drop one more game and IG's moving on. You're going home. Fallon's gonna be dropped. Def has the damage as there comes your execution. UCal's able to drag him back. KT's able to find the game. Damage goes through. Jackie's able to find two big kills. Jackie Love just found everybody. Rookie's got the chain. KT roster have fallen. And Invictus Gaming will do what has not been done since 2014. They will eliminate the Korean first seed and they will move on to the semifinals.
Is it RNG Panda?
Yeah, of course RNG Panda, hey!
Hey!
Kicking off the quarterfinal between tournament favorites Royal Never Give Up and G2 Esports. He's threading the fight through G2, and look at that! Perkz is down. That's the third of the fight. Only the duo left standing, but not for much longer. Now one just needs to get over the wall. That's Summoner Spell you. While that's going on,
Nice.
RNG sense impending doom. Lefty looks for the regain. And Xiaohu is dropped to the back line. Wonder's looking for Casa, and Ming is running for his life.
It just used to feel that simply the Western teams didn't have the individual talent to compete, and that's completely untrue now.
No way.
Lands for the slow, that's a body slam. There's a stun following up as well. And first blood, Yonin is going to close this one out. There's a lot of damage from Let Me Back though. In a 1v2, he finally goes down. But at what cost? Perkz Petrifying Gaze is for naught. Squidid is followed up, and this will be another kill for G2. It lands in Perkz' pocket.
Whoa! Kill him in Ash! Help him. Even if you die, we have not. I'm fine. Just beat him now. Nice. Good shit. Nice.
RNG, we just watched them get slammed by G2, and we're in game 5.
Teleport's coming down. Perkz will find out. Perkz blows up RNG.
Uzi's down.
Uzi's down. It's all on Xiaohu. Xiaohu's running for the Perkz. Perkz has found him. The underdogs reign supreme.